we're at a car show in Hever Castle. Now, Hever Castle is famous for the fact that Anne Boleyn, which is Henry VIII's second wife, okay, this is where she was raised, okay, and I thought I'd show you this. It's a very pretty castle, so I thought I'd give you a bit of a tour of the castle. But it's Father's Day over here in the UK, so that's why they've got all these old cars and things around, because us blokes love cars. Here's a bit of a contrast. Alright, the Hever Castle, Anne Boleyn's castle. And over here, have a bit of a look at this. Met up with a local. He's from Maitland. And he's come over for the competition. I'm a Maitland boy, born and bred, as most people know, so I wished him luck. Yeah, I like this one too. It's like about a 65 model or something like that. Classic. Now, this is the reason why we came here. Okay, Cara booked tickets very secretly because she does that sort of stuff. We're going to actually watch a comedy tonight celebrating Father Ted. This one was built around the 13th century, and the Berlins owned it from I think it was about 1460 to 1539. Okay, and as I said, this is the childhood home of Anne Boleyn, and when we go in, we'll actually see the bedroom that she grew up in, which hasn't changed really at all. Okay, but room that actually was a kitchen originally. Okay, it was done up. This castle almost came to ruin before the 1900s, but it was actually restored. I'll tell you the name of the guy, but obviously this is why it's famous, because of old Henry VIII and Anne herself. Okay, interesting that Henry also had an affair with Anne Boleyn's sister Mary. That one there. Okay, the guy got around, didn't he? So, as you can see, all of this was completely restored again. Okay, and I believe the person, I'll find out his name, but he was an extremely rich, eccentric American. Okay, and he came and restored the whole thing. But as you can see, the woodwork is absolutely intricate and incredible. If you go along and have a look, it's magnificent. So yeah, another reason why this is a great castle to come and have a look at. This is an entertainment room, and now I know the guy's name, William Waldorf Astor. Apparently an eccentric millionaire, okay, an American. Didn't like America much, but he loved Britain, and so he came over here and restored the castle. Now, I think it was 1903 to 1908, so it took that long to restore it. But as you can see, this is where he used to do his entertaining. Okay, this is the Great Hall. This is where the Boleyns would have had, had their dinners and lunches and so forth. So this is apparently not that much changed. I mean, it's been done up, obviously, but it hasn't changed in look since the time that they were there. They would have been in a raised platform at the front there. Also, this is where King Henry VIII is believed to have dined as well. This here is the Astor Library. Okay, that's a picture of the eccentric millionaire that Astor himself. Okay, we're back in the Boleyn era again. This is the resting room, or the retirement room, and you can see that they've set it up so that you know, Anne Boleyn with Mum would have come down here, done their knitting and or whatever they're doing there. You'll notice that there's an initial as well, right above the fireplace. That was one of the owners of Hever Castle. There we go, zoomed up on it. One of the owners of Hever Castle, Henry Waldorf. What was his name? Henry Waldorf. Okay, and he ended up building this little extra addition in this room because he owned the castle during the reign of Elizabeth I, and it was against the law at that stage to be a Catholic or to have Catholic Mass. So what he would do is he would hide his priest if they were ever searched in this room, and apparently one of them is supposed, so the story goes, one of them's supposed to have died in there, and his ghost can still be heard. So this is Peter. Peter's a very knowledgeable man about Anne Boleyn. So tell us about this room, Peter.
This room is called Anne Boleyn's bedroom, but it almost certainly wasn't, because girls weren't important enough usually to warrant rooms, even a room as big as this. Many people who see me, who see this room, say it's not very big for a bedroom, but it is, especially for a girl. The girls were unimportant. Their job was just to get married, have babies, and die, and bring land and power to their families in the process. And that, I'm afraid, is what happened to Anne. On a bigger scale, she married a king and gave her family a great deal more power. But as was so often the way, she died fairly young, but not many died from having their heads chopped off.
Thank you, Peter, for your time. Here we are in another interesting room. Okay, quite a large room, this one. This is part of the Boleyn section. That would be fairly traditional. Interesting, we've got a tapestry over here. This tapestry was created in 1525 and it was created in France, and it actually is a depiction of Queen Mary, or Anne Boleyn's sister, marrying King Francis, I think it's the 12th of France. So one of these girls here, okay, which we don't know which one, it would actually represent Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn was sent over to France. Okay, so she only spent her early childhood here, and then she was sent over to France. Workers, this here is interesting. This is a picture of the field of cloth and gold. This is a period of time that Henry tried to. He knew he couldn't make it in the military market against France and Spain at that time. They were too big. So Thomas Wolsey, which was his advisor at the time, chief advisor, suggested, how about you become the ultimate peacemaker and create peace amongst France and Spain and the Holy Roman Empire and all that. And so this is actually a meeting. They called it the Field of Cloth of Gold because you can see the tents here. Okay, they actually had like gold thread through them and they shone. Interesting here too. Oh, by the way, that was actually all canvas. It wasn't. So that's a tent as well. Interesting here in the corner, you can see that this is a fountain that they had wine running from. Okay, constant wine. So you can see depictions of people obviously drunk and misbehaving. This fella over here, this fella up here is vomiting in the corner. So if you could imagine, that was some party. In one of the major bedrooms here, the front of the castle, they've got a statue of the big man himself, and he was a big man, 6'3". He towered over most people of that day, so you can imagine he would have been someone that you would have naturally had to respect, other than the fact that he could take your head off, and he killed around about 70,000 plus people. But yeah, he's a tyrant. The more you look into this guy, he was certainly somewhat of a tyrant.
This is the staircase gallery. So this gallery was added by Thomas Boleyn, who was Anne Boleyn's father, to connect the two wings of the castle.
Okay.
We've got Elizabeth first.
Good old Elizabeth. So this was actually a castle taken into the Tudor's possession, wasn't it, after the Berlins in 39?
Yes, so it was owned by Anne Boleyn's father, Thomas Boleyn. When he died, it passed to his brother, and then he sold it to the crown. So his name was James Boleyn, and he sold it to the crown. So he sold it to Henry VIII in 1540, and after the annulment of his marriage to Anne of Cleves was given the lease of the castle for her lifetime. So she also got to stay here. So two of Henry's wives.
It's called the Walgrave Room. Okay, and they were secret Catholics. Okay, so during the reign of Elizabeth I, when it wasn't safe to be a Catholic, you can see this little area here, like a little secret chapel, of which is tucked away. The doors can be shut and would look like just wall panelling, okay, so that they could have their services there. Okay, this is traditionally believed to be the bedchamber of Henry VIII. Up these stairs, excuse me, up these stairs, we're going into the long chamber. These are the paintings of every monarch after. Who we got? We got the Tudors, Henry VII, Elizabeth of York, Arthur. Arthur's an interesting character. He should have been the king because he was Henry VIII's eldest brother, and he actually married Henry VIII's first wife, Catherine of Aragon, first, but unfortunately he died young, putting Henry on the throne. Again, Henry wasn't overly happy with the way that his father sort of all of a sudden said, right, you're going to be inheriting the throne. Hence he didn't like doing a lot of the admin and passed that admin on to Thomas Wolsey. He was a bit of a party goer, old Henry. Here's Thomas Wolsey, another interesting chap, Thomas Wolsey. Okay, he was actually the son of a butcher, reasonably well-off butcher at the time, but because he basically sucked up to Henry VIII, he rose through the ranks very quickly, okay, and became the second richest man in England, which made a lot of the nobles extremely jealous and unhappy of this guy. The thing about this castle is you'll have big rooms which we've just gone into, and then you get all these little narrow rabbit warren type areas. Okay, so with very small bedrooms up in this area, and just watching my steps so I don't fall over. But you can see here are some of the very tiny bedrooms that were created. More so, I think this was Aston's creation here for his family. This would be like early 1900s. But yes, he certainly did a great job doing it all up. So these aren't overly large rooms, really. And you've got the courtyard just out there. Okay. This is the room that actually shows you William Waldorf Astor. There he is, the man himself. Okay, entertained royalty. I'll show you some of the people that he was influential with. Okay, the Astors, very well known in politics as well. Sorry, mate. Here we are, Churchill. He lived just up the road too, by the way. John Jacob Astor. And here we go, the Astors with the royal family. So you can see they were very well connected. Final room that I'm going to take you to is quite an interesting one. Quite gruesome, really. This is showing you some of the medieval weapons and torture equipment. Again, look at all this, like, little rat or rabbit warren type areas to get into. There we go. Get over there. So you can see some of the torture devices that were used during the Middle Ages. You certainly wouldn't want to be on the one that was tortured. But you can sort of imagine what some of these would have done. Okay. And again, we have some torture equipment. It's pretty hideous what some humans can do with others, really. Swords. Man trap. Here we go. So realistically, if you look back at home, a man trap is basically an oversized bear trap or rabbit trap. Okay, you don't want to get caught in one of those, let me tell you. Well, there you go, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my little tour of Hever Castle. One of my favourites. Okay, cute, quaint, not real big. Like I said, we've seen lots of other much bigger castles. Leeds Castle, Arundel Castle, Warwick Castle. Okay, Edinburgh, Stirling. All of those are much, much bigger. But this one, if you want like a little quintessentially fairy tale middle-aged sort of castle, this is one that you would go to see. Plus, it's got an interesting history. So, and again, the grounds here too are awesome. They go for ages. And I think I did mention inside, okay, that Astor didn't spare any money. He actually built a huge lake over there. That's turned around. You can see, you know, the property goes on literally for, it'd have to be a good 150 acres. And a lot of that is a massive big man-made lake. So yeah, really worth a visit, the old Hever Castle. Anyway, everyone, you have an awesome day, night, evening, whatever you are. And I hope you enjoyed a little bit of history with me. Bye.